Coming to you live from Hollywood, it's the 10 Point Podcast. My name is Bruce, and I'd love to embrace you all, but first I have to satisfy my sense of moral outrage. With me this week, are you feeling frisky tonight, fellas? First, he's going to take very good care of us, because if he doesn't, he's going back to the science lab. It's Chris.
I can't remember what's from the film now.
You don't have to have a quip. You don't have to have a quip. And secondly, is there nothing that can permeate your impervious puss? It's Andy.
I thought you were going to say a monkey suit or something like that.
Oh yeah, there was the monkey suit one. I forgot about that. Yes.
But as soon as I seen that guy, I was like, "Oh, that's my
ass.
one."
I'm getting recast as him. No. The permeating the impervious puss was the one I went for you there. We are the 10 Point Podcast. You must know that by now. This is episode 1 million of the series. Season 8? Is that what we're on now? Season 8? So if you look back through wherever you found us, there are many, many episodes to check up on. Some animated ones. This has realised something in my brain. We haven't done an animated film in absolutely ages. I can't think the last time we did like a cartoon or otherwise.
Well, you've tried DuckTales. He's tried Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead, yeah. I don't know if there's been any others, to be honest. But yes, not just animated, but comedies and some special films like this one where technologically different. We've got lots of them. So just search 10 Point Podcast anywhere. You'll find us. YouTube, Spotify, and 10pointpodcast.com are the best places to find us. Lots of listeners through Apple Podcasts is where people listen to us too. Twitter, Facebook, or the former Twitter, and the current Facebook. I don't know if it's called Meta yet or if it's still called Facebook. 10 Point Podcast there too. And you can send us messages. We want to hear from you.
Money.
Before we get on to this week's podcast, what were highlights of the last week that did not involve the film that we watched? Andy, what was your highlight of the week?
I got one banger that started. I'm very excited to see how it ends. Ryan Reynolds is back on telly with Bob McElhenney, season 2 of Wrexham. I tried to get through the whole year.
Before Wrexham, you know how it ends.
Yeah, that was the problem. Chantel tried to get through the whole season without actually getting spoiled because she wanted to enjoy the TV show. But even in the first episode, there was a lot of shit on there. It's like, fuck, like, holy shit, like, I didn't know that happened. There was like loads of shit behind the scenes that they kept quiet. So, yeah, back being good, that. However, the ultimate highlight, which recommended from a long-time podcast listener, Sean, he recommended the new Netflix documentary, Wrestlers.
Oh, right, yeah, I heard about this.
Absolutely amazing, that show.
All right.
It's all about OVW, their kind of crash to nothingness.
Yeah, they were the farming sort of area for the WWE wrestling, weren't they? They were
Batista, John Cena.
I thought that was just like NXT before it became NXT. I
No,
basically, yeah.
It was, but then the WWE did everything in house in Florida, so OVD. What I found out is I didn't know that they were so is it only the third? There's only 3 live wrestling. You've got WWE, AEW, and you've got them, and they still do weekly live episodes.
Live. Oh, right, okay.
I didn't know that. The rest of them have all went out of business. Obviously, TNA's kind of up and down, and Impact Wrestling, but they record things way in advance.
And then Ring of Honor is AEW, basically. Yeah. They're owned, and so it's the same company, basically.
Well, watching it, I've got like an emotional attachment to it because I know one of the people pretty well in this. It's Al Snow.
Ah, yes.
He gets painted in such a great light and such a bad light at the same time. It's kind of like, I'm watching it going, you're a genius. And then you get this other angle, it's like, fucking hell, it's like the Fire Festival guy. And it's like, it's like, Al's all over the place in this thing, but like, it's absolutely, like, if you're into even remotely a bit of wrestling, even if you're not, it is a fascinating thing about how live events are run, what can go wrong, personalities behind the thing. And like, for Sean to recommend it, he powered through like 4 or 5 episodes and was just like, watch it. And I was like, I was going to, but he's like, just watch it. I'll put one episode on. Like, they're long episodes, 59 minutes for the first episode.
Right, it's a full hour. Right.
And then straight into the next one because I needed to see what happened. And to come off this podcast, I'm going to be putting another one on because it's absolutely banger of a show.
There you go. 2 documentary recommendations.
Yeah.
No movies. Well, I know that Chris and I have the same.
I'm going to chime in your one, but I'll leave it.
And it's also not a film. So, Chris, why don't you lead off since you were telling me that was your highlight?
The latest episode of Ahsoka. Absolutely bagging.
Andy's already raised a hand.
No, that was me raising.
Oh, right, okay.
I guess gifts every week of boners for him, like the next episode.
Okay.
But I want to see, without spoiling too much of this, a full season or series about Anakin. I miss that man so much.
It's called the Clone Wars, Chris.
What's the cartoon? I want to see actual Hayden Christensen.
One of the last things I did before logging on to start recording tonight was looking at Twitter, and I saw someone had retweeted someone saying, like, showed the certain scene with Anakin Skywalker kind of spliced with another character as he's walking towards the camera, and the person was just like, oh my god, I really now want a whole season of an Anakin Skywalker show. And the person's reply was just, would you nerds just please let the man rest? Sort of thing. It's like, it's all Star Wars
getting
fans.
the love that he deserved.
I mean, he was done the dirty. Hayden Christensen wasn't like awful. Just the films. There were two big timeline gaps, which is why they put all these cartoons in to try and fill the gaps. Now they're going backwards now. And like when I think it was episode 4, when the very end when he pops up, I'm just like, the agent looks pretty fucking awful. And then it starts the episode, it's like, that's still pretty awful. Then they just turn, it's like, that's all fucking good. I'm happy now. It's like,
I think he looks fine.
I think it was the light.
He's kind of eternally young, Hayden Christensen. He's always going to probably look about 10 years younger than he actually is. I think he's got a kind of an actor face.
But yeah, behind his neck now.
I guess so. Yeah. When they revealed him at the end of one episode, he's going to be in the next one. Basically, that's a slight spoiler for Ahsoka. I was like, when you get the previously on Ahsoka bit, I'm like, there's a lot of backstory that we don't know. Like, we, as the greater watchers of Ahsoka, don't know. It's like, are they going to do like flashbacks of, here's a bit of Clone Wars that you should know? And I was like, it'd be quite interesting to do that, just to have a bit.
That's what I want to see as well. I want to see a live action Clone War now.
Yeah, and I was like, but then in this episode, slight spoiler for what happens in the episode, basically they have a live action bit of Clone Wars. And that was my biggest takeaway for the show was they managed to get an actress who looks pretty much identical to what animated Ahsoka looks like. I thought, that's really good casting. Well, she looks just like her.
Use Baby Kimura again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she seems to fit every role. We have to paint her face. It's just like
it's like we need somebody to look like the same thingy, like a Zoe Saldana or like a Rosario Dawson. Her, because he's go-to.
What else was she was in? Was she in one of the Avatars? I think she's another actress that's in like two of the.
She's in Barbie as well.
Films. Oh, Barbie. That's what it was. Actually, she's in Barbie. That's what she was most recently in. Yeah, she's in like the highest grossing movies ever.
Yeah, she's literally everywhere now.
But yes, I've been a big fan of Ahsoka the whole way through. This is the one that the fandom's exploded over. But it's like Mandalorian, but it's a Jedi, and I'm kind of a bit in on it. But
I was saying to Chris though, I don't know if they're going like, I love lightsabers, and I've been mourning that I need lightsabers. There's almost too many lightsabers in this show.
Every episode has a lightsaber battle. Yeah.
Like, and they're brilliant, and I'm fascinated by them. And I like they re-evolved like lightsabers again, but. Every single time I see a lightsaber, I just keep going back to going, do you remember when Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fought in the Death Star? That was a bit shit. Yeah. Remember when Luke and Vader fought? That was a bit shit. But then you've got like the prequels flying around, wiggling like things, and then you've got the in-between bits, and then you've got the sequels, and it's like, and then you've got like, now this, it's just like, why was Luke so shit?
Like, I was like a 10-year period where everyone was bad with lightsabers. It wasn't the beginning or the end. Yeah.
What I'm most interested in now is Balin. I want to see his backstory now. Obviously, he can't because sadly Ray Stevenson's dead. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
and where he came from and who he is and all that. Yeah.
I'm loving all the backstory we're getting for thingy. What you call her? Hera. Literally her backside all the time.
Yeah, I noticed that a couple of shots. Just her walking away.
You see her as like backside, and then you see like a guy coming in. It's like, cut away quickly. Don't want to see his arse on screen.
I never noticed it until you pointed out, but that last episode is literally there.
Yeah, and exactly.
Her go like that, and you're like, Jesus Christ, could you just get inside her pretty much?
So on the subject of her, I still, 5 episodes deep, I still feel like I'm supposed to have seen the entirety of the Rebels series to know who these people are.
Very much
outside.
It's like in this episode, most recent one, I was like, the kid went outside for the first time. I was like, oh, he's got green hair. So okay, he is actually her daughter then, because he's got green hair. Like up to that point, I was just like, oh, is he just some sort of random kid that she's adopted?
She banged a Jedi that trained Ezra Bridges.
Yeah, exactly. Bridger. Ezra Bridger. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. Like this stuff is you're kind of finding it out, but it's set up as if you're supposed to know. It's like, okay, I need to go watch X amount of seasons of Rebels to catch up on it, which I wasn't planning on doing. But yes, we'll cut it there for our highlights of the week. There's a couple, neither of which are films, but that's just a lot about how there was literally nothing coming out at the cinema.
Fucking actors striking bastards.
I checked what was on in the cinema this week, and I found 3 Batman films and the 3 extended Lord of the Rings films were going to be in my local cinema. Like, that says a lot about what's happening at the moment. So, but we do have something teasing for the end of the episode. There's a new film coming out that we are going to link our pick of destiny into this week. So stay tuned for that at the end. But point 1 on this particular episode of the podcast, what is the point? The point this week, the 1988 mystery crime comedy film noir parody, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
What a title.
That is tenuous link of noir.
This is a proper gangster noir. Now,
noir.
I don't like many like oldie films, but I particularly don't like gangster noirs. Like, I can get maybe away with Godfather, but that was out of the noir period anyway.
Yeah, it's not particularly noir.
But yeah, I don't think I can name a proper, old gangster. I hated that Gangster's Game. I hated like all that shit. But this is my version of gangster noir. Probably because it's in color. It helps.
Yeah, it's rather than being black and white, it's both in color and then very much in color. It's like a little bit. It's the least noir ever. Based on the book, which I did not know, based on Who Censored Roger Rabbit, written by Gary K. Wolfe. He's most famous for writing that particular book, which I think is a graphic novel. I don't really know if it's a graphic novel or not, but it seemed like it was that. He since wrote 2 sequels that were books, but they were sequels to the film rather than to the book that he wrote. And in fact, one of his sequel books retconned the original book in favor of the storyline from the film, if you follow me. Like, it's a really strange way. He must have seen the success of how the film did, and then was like, oh, I'd better write some sequels so they can make them into the films, rather than writing a sequel to his book that he wrote, and then they never made them into films. It seems to be how it went.
I thought he was just
the screenplay for... What was that?
I thought he was just one and done, Roger Rabbit. I didn't realise he did everything.
There are partly 3 stories, seems to be all it is. I think it's probably been adapted into other bits and pieces since, little shorts and all that. I don't actually know if Disney still make it or not. But yes, 3 books. But this was the one. Like, this was one and done at the time. And then the film came out and it changed. The screenplay, written by Jeffrey Price and Peter S. Seaman, the writing team, famous for writing Wild Wild West, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, that's the Jim Carrey one, Last Holiday, and Shrek the Third, specifically. Only Shrek the Third. Neither of the ones before, none of the ones after. So they're the writing team behind this. The film, directed by Robert Zemeckis, famous for writing the Back to the Future trilogy. Yes, he's directing the Back to the Future trilogy. Also directing Forrest Gump, that we have done on the podcast before, Contact, and Flight. I'll not go too deep into him because we did cover what he directed when we did the Forrest Gump episode. Starring Bob Hoskins as Eddie Valiant, famous for The Long Good Friday, Mona Lisa, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Hook, Super Mario Brothers, and Enemy at the Gates. Yes, broke out during The Long Good Friday. I'm not sure what it is. It looks... It's an X-rated movie back when violent films were also X-rated, if you know what I'm saying. So like it was the 80s, maybe late 70s, it was rated X. That's where he first became famous. Mona Lisa, Oscar nomination from that. And then Who Framed Roger Rabbit was his Hollywood blockbuster. And that's how he was in Disney movie Hook and appeared in Mario Brothers and basically carried on being Bob, who I remember being that's the actor Bob Hoskins, who just did bits and pieces for basically the rest of his career. Co-starring as Judge Doom, second build on the credits in this film, Christopher Lloyd, famous for Back to the Future trilogy, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and the Addams Family films. We have covered him before, the second build star of this film, so I won't go into too much depth on that. And third build, basically, the first 2 came before the Roger Rabbit thing at the end, but Roger Rabbit himself, the actor who played Roger Rabbit, Benny the Cab, and 2 of the Weasels in the film, Charles Fleischer? I'm not
You're
exactly
on your own on that one.
Yeah. Famous for A Nightmare on Elm Street. He played Dr. King in A Nightmare on Elm Street. So I don't know if that's is that Stephen King in some way or another? I don't really know. I don't know the film that well. Who Framed Roger Rabbit as Roger. He's in Back to the Future Part 2, but I couldn't work out the name. He's got a name, but I couldn't work out who the character was. And then he was also in Zodiac, like decades after everything else that he was in, the film Zodiac. And I know who he was in that one, but it's going to be quite difficult to explain who he was in that. But yeah, that's what he's famous for. But basically, being Roger Rabbit is his most famous thing. There are 3 stars. On a budget of $70 million in 1988. This film opened in America. First weekend, $11 million its first weekend.
Keep on time.
Final US gross, $156.5 million,
Smoked it.
double the budget. Final worldwide gross, $330 million. This one made a lot of money back then. And as we do often see with like 80s and earlier kind of film, word of mouth counted a lot more back then. Like a film would come out, oh, this is good, and oh, it's cartoons with real people. People would go out and then see it, and it makes more money, makes more money. Released 22nd of June 1988 in the United States. Didn't get it in the UK till the 2nd of December, nearly 6 months later. I know.
This was mostly filmed in Britain too.
Exactly, which makes it even stranger. Made it qualified for the 1989 awards season, but then somehow one of our major awards from the 1990 kind of year picked up on it too. So from all of these ones, 1989 Oscars, 7 nominations for Who Framed Roger Rabbit at the Oscars. Nominated for Best Sound, which it lost to a film called Bird. I don't know, never heard of that before.
Nope.
Best Set Decoration, it lost to Dangerous Liaisons. Best Cinematography, lost to Mississippi Burning. Best Visual Effects, it was the winner.
Yay.
Best Sound Effects Editing, it was the winner. Best Film Editing, it was also the winner. So it won those 3. And in the final nomination, as it were, it was the winner of a Special Achievement Award for Animation Direction and Creation of Cartoon Characters, i.e., basically when the Oscars are like, you have done something that has blown our mind a little bit here, have a special award for you doing something special when it comes to movies. Did not get any nominations at the Razzies that year. I forgot to check if the MTV Movie Awards existed around then because it got no nominations there either. It strikes me as an MTV kind of movie as well, so maybe they didn't exist yet. But the 1990 Saturn Awards, I don't know why it took a year later for the Saturn Awards to pick up on the film, but it did. 8 nominations at the Saturn Awards. Doesn't really, again, strike me as the kind of film the Saturn Awards normally pick up on. But Best Music, it lost to Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. Apparently it's got better music than this, which music from Hellraiser is kind of cool. Best Writing, it lost to Big, the Tom Hanks kind of coming-of-age sort of comedy. Nominated for Best Supporting Actress, Joanna Cassidy, who played the role of Dolores. She lost to Sylvia Sidney, an actress I don't know, but in Beetlejuice. And it's like, I don't really know the cast of Beetlejuice beyond Michael Keaton and, is it Winona Ryder that's in Beetlejuice?
Yeah, it must be Alec Baldwin's wife then.
No, Gina Davis.
Is it?
Oh, Gina Davis, yeah, she's in that as well, yeah. So apparently Sylvia
Catherine
Sidney.
O'Hara's the other mum, so I don't know about Sidney.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is she?
Exactly. Well, she
the
was
woman.
not. Maybe. I've not seen Beetlejuice in a long time.
Right.
The Death Woman, maybe, I don't know.
Anyway, well, she won.
Carry
Maybe she was the one actress that would show up, so she won, maybe. Best Supporting Actor, Christopher Lloyd. He lost to Robert Loggia, or Loggia. He was also in Big. You would very much recognise Robert Loggia if you saw him from being in things. He is like an army colonel or admiral or something like that in Independence Day. You would definitely recognise him if you saw him from that. Nominated for Best Actor, Bob Hoskins. He lost to Tom Hanks from Big, obviously. Best Special Effects, the winner. Best Director, the winner. And Best Fantasy Film, which is how this film snuck in. It was the winner of the Saturn Award for Best Fantasy Film. Doesn't strike me as a typical fantasy film.
It's the old lady.
It's the old lady. There we go. Other awards for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It won Best Special Effects at the BAFTAs. And in total, it won 24 awards across the year or 2 years that it was nominated.
This is going to be one of the best awards winning film we've done in a long time. If not
one of the most Oscar nominations we've done in a while, I think. Synopsis for the film, presented by John. He writes Who Framed Roger Rabbit as such. It is 1940s Los Angeles, which I just realised like this film is set, I think, 8 years after The Wizard of Oz came out that we did last year. So that's when this one's set. 1940s Los Angeles, in a world where humans and cartoons coexist. A famous toon known as Roger Rabbit has life easy until he discovers that his wife, Jessica, is having fun with the head of Maroon Cartoons. Then things take a turn. That's not true either, because it's not Maroon Cartoons she's having fun with. It's the Acme guy.
Marvin Acme,
Yeah, exactly. Then things take a turn for the worse for Roger. As Roger is now accused of murdering Mr. Maroon, which he's not, because it's the Acme guy. John's the mayor here. Roger turns to a down-and-out detective named Eddie Valley, which Roger didn't either, because it was Maroon that put him onto Roger.
Why did you just write the synopsis, Bruce, here?
Should have done here.
He's a private investigator, not a detective.
Same sort of thing. It isn't because he went through the police, like he was a policeman, so he's still a detective. Kind
I'll
of.
allow that one, John.
Anyway, Eddie Valiant, who has a vendetta for Toons. He helps Roger, against his own will, escape from an uncompromising Judge Doom and even try to clear Roger's name. In order to do this, he must travel all over LA and even into Toon Town. Who picked Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It was Andy. Andy, why'd you pick Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Because I needed to pick people who have not done, and Bob Hoskins fits the bill. And in case he randomly appeared in something I can remember, Roger Rabbit definitely hasn't.
Yes, Roger hasn't. And you didn't think Christopher Lloyd was a star of this film, who we've done before.
Well, yeah, but I knew he was second build, so I'm kind of trying to stay fully away from like people that were kind of semi-done.
I do wonder, would Christopher Lloyd have been on the poster? Like, I don't know if he would have been. Like,
Nah.
obviously, he's in this because of Back to the Future, basically. Like, he's off the back of all three of them. Probably all three Back to the Futures would be out at this point. So yeah, he's quite a big star from that point of view. But yeah,
what does the poster look like? No, it is just Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, and it's Roger, obviously.
Jessica Rabbit. There, she's there for the tits.
Right. Well, I'll let you away with this one because Christopher Lloyd's not really in it that much. He just is a big actor who happened to.
But there's Bob Hoskins is where I'm going for. We've not done Bob Hoskins. That's
we definitely haven't. And as we discussed earlier, it would be tough for us to hit on him otherwise. So yes, Bob Hoskins. Have we seen it before?
Yes, many a time.
At most, I've seen it once all the way through. This is one that I would kind of dip in and out of and see bits of, but I am positive that I genuinely no recollection. Like literally, this film it's the one with the cartoons and Bob Hoskins. Basically, that's all I could remember. Jessica Rabbit's famously in it, and that's basically it. Like, I had no idea what the storyline was, other than someone tried to frame Roger. But at most, I've seen this once. Maybe not even seen the whole thing. Which channel would we find? Yes, even then, even the one time I'd have probably been a child when I saw this. The one time I'd seen it. So, yeah.
ITV, now Disney.
Right, definitely Disney now, yeah, because it's a Disney thing. But yeah, ITV. It's another one you can feel the advert breaks coming in the middle of it. Like it's that kind of one. And which version did we watch? Presumably we watched Disney Plus's version because that's the easiest to get, unless Chris has got the Blu-ray on his shelf, which he sometimes has random Blu-rays that he's seen.
I've got some DVD actually.
Anyway, so we watched Disney Plus. Some versions obviously censor language, censor innuendo, censor Jessica Rabbit in various versions, depending on when and where they are shown. But for the most part, it's the same thing. There's one scene that's taken out where Bob Hoskins appears in Toon Town, and they put basically a Porky Pig kind of head on him, and it's his body with a Porky Pig head. That got cut out at some point for, I don't know, running time or something. But yeah, that's a scene that exists in some versions of the film. Andy gets attacked by a fly.
I've never ever seen that in my life.
Nope.
I've seen here. Just like basically when I was looking for photographs, it was one of the images that came up was Bob Hoskins with a pig head. So it must be famously something that was taken out of the film. We'll crack on then to high points. What we thought the best bits and things were. Andy, you selected it, so you get the choice to go first.
I actually quite like the start. I'm not a fan of like the kind of Tom and Jerry type things.
Oh, I love Tom and Jerry cartoons.
But yeah, this whole thing just like was just funny. Like it just instantly. And I remember watching this as a kid as well, just going, I hate Tom and Jerry. Not quite liking it, but when you know what happens afterwards, and the baby's like an old guy, and it just
I love Baby Herman in general.
Right.
I didn't.
Well, I know that not like now, but like watching this for the first time, I was just like, but yeah, watching it again and again now, it's funnier. But yeah, I still remember watching this as a kid going, I don't want to watch this. Like, don't want to watch a cartoon movie. Like, I remember like when my dad and mum put this on, it's like, oh, like I don't want to watch cartoons now. I'm out of that phase. But yeah, now looking at it in hindsight, it's just funny. It's daft. It's violent as hell, and even just the subtle little things like shadows and that, like you can tell this is a movie because it's not just flat. It's like there's an extra layer to it.
It was the cartoon of the reflection on the floor.
Yeah.
And then the water, everything was just like pristine. You can see it clearly. Like other cartoons, you don't get that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Bit of budget put into it. Now, I wasn't sure, because it lies a long time since I've seen this, I wasn't sure if this was going to be like sometimes it happened for me when I saw the Muppets movie. There was like a Toy Story short before.
Oh, they do a lot of mini movies in the start,
yeah. So I thought it was going to be like a little Roger Rabbit kind of mini movie. So I quite liked the development that it wasn't that. It was actually the film starting. I did like the little in-jokes as well, like the oven being called Hot or Nail, which is funny.
Never even noticed that.
But my 3 high points I've got from this scene are Roger accidentally going into the oven is when I first cracked. Like, I was enjoying it, but I'm sorry, I'm on Chris's side of Tom and Jerry. Like, love it. I grew up on Tom and Jerry. Tom's squeal that he makes when he gets his tail trapped in things always makes me laugh. It's like a Wilhelm scream.
That was literally like I was more Flintstones. That's the problem.
Right, yeah, I like Flintstones as well.
I couldn't deal with Tom and Jerry for some reason.
So him going in the oven made me crack up. Him getting the teapot on his head and then the chili sauce bottle landing on the spout cracked me as well. I thought, and then him getting fired off at that point, and then the ironing board dropping down, and then I was thinking, what's he going to do here? And it was like in his mouth, and it filled up his mouth. That was the 3rd time that I cracked. So they were the 3 laughs that I got. And then I like the development that it's like cut, we'll leave it there, and then it's like the camera pulls out, and you can see that it's like a real set made to look cartoon with the cartoons animated in front of it. It's a good way to start. I very much enjoyed that.
I love like Baby Herman anytime he's on the screen. The fact that, like you said, you see him think he's an actual baby, and he just gets up and goes, "What the hell am I wrong now?"
And gets his cigar in his mouth.
Cigar. Just smacking the women in the arse.
It's actually,
he probably could do that now.
Yeah, his scene later on was just absolutely kills me.
The one outside his agency.
Yeah, fucking hell, that just absolutely. I'm sure Chris will come to that later on.
Just him, and anytime he's on the screen, he is absolutely melting.
It's just really like I've got the body. Was it the body of a child and like a?
I've got a 3-year-old's Twinkie and the mind of a
50-year-old's body, or mind of a 50-year-old. Yeah,
it's brilliant.
I didn't know that was going to be that, and then it happened. I was like, oh yeah, that kind of rings a bell. So it's I kind of half remembered the baby who was like an old man, basically.
I've never seen that before, like in a cartoon, like a kid, like a wee baby with a man's voice.
Yeah, it probably would be the first one.
So it always cracks me up.
I'm not 100% sure of like how and when things happen necessarily in this film. I don't know this film backwards and forwards. But my next high point I did laugh when we had to do I laugh when Bob Hoskins revealed that a Toon had killed his brother and then just dropped a piano on his head. It was like, you're supposed to laugh at that. Like he killed it.
Yeah, they did that one. Before that is when he's doing putting the walk by with like all the different cartoon characters.
Yeah,
I tell you, it looks hell of a lot better than some of the stuff we see now. Like
this is what this film like I always liked about it. Like I remember watching this as a kid, just going, how do you do it? Because you either see what's behind Bruce is just 100% animated, but I think this is the first time I ever seen this half and half thing going on, and 99% of the time it is done incredibly well.
Yeah, since we're on it,
like CGI, when you move, it kind of goes all weird and thingy. It doesn't do that at all in this film.
The only issue I had with the animation, it's not a low point, so I'll just mention it here, is it seems to be when things are far away, when characters are far away, it's like they kind of half animate them. Like it's weird. It doesn't seem like it's like if they just animated them fully, even though they're far away, it would look better than it does. It's like they don't quite fill it in properly, but yeah, it looks really good, especially when they are the featured characters in like the real world as a cartoon character. It looks really, really good.
Yeah,
and I've definitely got one high point later on where this is important. Andy, a high point from you.
I kind of like the kind of introduction to like the bit that you were talking about, where he's like his brothers died and stuff like that. You get enough backstory that's like, all right, he hates Toons, but then he's skint, so he's going to have to work with it. Like it's fast as well. Like normally you get this like long drawn out thing. It's just like no, it's pretty much all in one like kind of little sentence. He talks back and forth to the guy. I'm trying to help you, get some money, and then you get to my next high point where he goes to the strip club or whatever it's meant to be.
It's just a club, isn't it?
I don't know.
I guess it's meant to be like a gentleman's club, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you're right.
That whole scene, amazing.
So you're right on that. This film is hard. It was hard for me to find low points. I didn't have many low points because every scene does serve a purpose, like you say. Like it's every scene establishes something. Every scene gives him a reason to go to the next thing. Like he's a private eye trying to solve the case, so he thinks this person does it, so that takes him to there. finds it from that person that they didn't do, but they now think, oh well, this person must have done it, so he moves to there. So it's always kind of moving forward. There's like maybe one scene where it's kind of reflective, where he sits down and he gets a bit sad and all that. But yes, once we get to the club, which the name escapes me what the club's called, I can't remember. But one of my high points before we get to Andy's high point, which is another one of mine, is the previous performance to Jessica Rabbit. I very much enjoyed her support act of the two ducks, the duck piano battle.
Yep.
Because for me, like, again, I didn't know who was in this film. Like, to me, these are stars that are in this film. These are cameos here.
Yeah, that's a cameo.
It's Daffy Duck and Donald Duck on the screen at the same time, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then the piano battle, and then what's the gag at the end that the two of them they never ever get to finish the song, and they get pulled off in the hooks. But yes, the piano battle was very good. And the song
I'm a Daffy guy.
I'm a Daffy guy as well. Yeah, I'm a Daffy guy, despite Donald being my name. But Andy,
this is a film. This is how I learned that rocks means ice. Like
rocks.
I never knew it was ice.
There you go.
It's the fact that he shouts. It's the fact that he shouts after it. And I mean ice. Like don't gag. No gags, please. I said it still brings rocks anyway. Right, Andy, your high point, because it's also a high point for me as well.
Jessica Rabbit. That entire scene, like, as a kid, it makes you feel things before you should be feeling things, I reckon.
Was it an awakening? Was it?
I think so. Like,
kids' first love.
It's like it is so weird. Like looking back on it now, it's like she even does the lines like she's badly drawn, and it's just like our face is not that detailed, but like the rest of her is good.
They focused on some parts, didn't they?
Yeah. But yeah, just even like the song, it was good. It's just like a nice little kind of thing, and then it's just the whole, like, everybody's like, oh my god, she's amazing. It's just like, how is that Jessica Rabbit? Like, how is she banging? Well, how's Roger banging her?
It's funny.
I know.
Sense of humor. For me, the whole scene is the interaction that she has with the human actors is incredible.
Going down, holding hands, even like the holding hands, but when it's bang on, like the animations are bang on.
The hat on the face, and it's the bit where I was really like, this is amazing, is when she grabs Bob Hoskins' tie, and she's pulling the tie away, and it's really close up on her hands, and it's like, I know there's not a person in a blue suit doing that they've mapped her onto. Like, it has something else must be happening there. It's like, how did they do it back in 1988? And it's flawless. You can't find there's no hint of there's a bit of string there, and like that. It's really well done. The whole scene, interaction between the human and animated characters.
Chris is going to go pervy, I reckon.
No,
I thought you were just going to add Chris, just to say she's hot. There we go. I'll put words in his mouth.
You can carry on, Chris.
Yeah, another high point. Think about it now. It's just weird.
It is weird.
Cartoon character, but yeah, like my next high point is obviously after the deaths and all that have happened, it's Roger being in the Eddie. Is it Eddie? I think I've got
Eddie. Bob Hoskins, Eddie. Yeah.
Being in his bed, you just see the sheets moving.
The sheet moving, yeah.
And then again, like the interaction between the cartoon on the bed and all the cabinets and stuff and the handcuffs. I can just go.
That's my next high point is when the mob come in and Roger's in the sink. That's like that entire scene is just like, one, it's like Bob Hoskins is playing to nothing. There's nothing in that room.
Yeah.
He's playing to just nothing. He's
maybe a tennis ball off camera somewhere.
He's in pushing them, he's interacting with them, Roger's coming up, and just everything's moving around the set, and he's just focused and pretending that there's things there.
He's the only man there. Yeah, he's the only person.
It is an incredible scene where this is where like you see Bob Hoskins truly acting against nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So my next one is in the bar.
At the bar, on you go, Chris. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to go as well, but
no, you go.
In the back room of the bar, where I think Roger or Eddie hits a light and the light's swinging, and the shadow on Roger keeps changing on the cartoon, and like as he tries to saw him, he takes his hand out. I'll hold this steady for you.
Yeah,
like, you knew the gag was coming at some point.
Yeah, exactly. You knew as soon as the handcuffs went on, it's like, well, Roger's going to be able to get out of it. It's and not have. So for me, that scene is the bit where the knock. Oh. And then Roger's in the back room being like this and knock, which apparently shaving a haircut. That's new to me. I've never heard it called. Was it like a shave and a haircut and then
2 bits?
whatever the other bit is, and then yeah, Roger getting more and more kind of like, and it's like no Toon can resist a shave and a haircut. It just goes flying through the wall. So yeah, I like that. That was my next high point. Is the knock, which I did not know had a name, so that was educational to me.
Oh, my next high point is the taxi.
The taxi, yes.
Benny. Is it Benny? Benny in the taxi. Yeah.
Also voiced by the voice of Roger Rabbit, so he's having
But it's just funny. It's like, right,
we're
going to nick the weasels thing, and then you hear this guy in attack. It's like, oh, it's Benny. And it's like, oh, it's gonna be another tune. You open up, and it's just a fucking car in a car.
Yeah. We've got a car, yeah.
And I just love the whole thing where like the weasels are in a real human car, and then he's getting chased in a cartoon car, but he's the human, and it's just the little stupid things. But that car chase was just good.
It's really good.
You can see practical people moving, and they've animated around it, and it doesn't look awkward. It doesn't look weird. It just everything works in that scene.
I didn't know the Toon Patrol came from this. I've seen Toon Patrol reference in places before. I didn't know that was what this film was as well. The weasels. Why was one of the weasels in a straitjacket?
He's crazy. There was supposed to be 7 of them, like the dwarfs.
Right.
They cut some of them out. They all had like names.
Well, no, because he said he killed one of them, didn't he?
Who did?
Christopher Lloyd. He said, "I'll kill."
Ah, right. Okay.
What happens when you
acetoned one of them? Which even like that in itself is a high point. Like, there's only one way to kill. It's like acetone, because that'll wipe anything off the film cells or whatever.
What they clean the cells with. Yeah,
it's genius. Absolute genius.
Yeah, really. So are we in Toon Town yet? Are we there yet? Because basically, I've only got one remaining high point, and it's in what I've got the end, and then I've got Toon Town basically. So for me, my next high point is what's behind Chris on our video version is the
more cameras
falling out the spare, we'll call it, the scene where Bugs and Mickey are offering Bob Hoskins the spare. Him thinking it's the parachute, turns out it's a tire. But yeah, having Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse on screen together, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
And then, as a kid, I just thought all cartoon characters were fine, but when you see it now, like
Disney, Warner Brothers teaming up.
Exactly.
I think this is the first and only film that's ever done it in.
Yep, it is. That's one of my. That was my fun fact. I think for later on when Andy's given his was that it's to date it's the only film where Warner Brothers and Disney cartoon characters appear at the same time, and literally at the same time, because Warner Brothers says you can have our characters in your Disney film, yes, but they must have an equal amount of screen time to your Disney characters, which is why they come in pairs.
Daffy and Donald.
Daffy and Donald at the same time, Bugs and Mickey at the same time, and then the kind of group shot at the same time as well. So everybody has the same sort of screen time. We don't want to look inferior in your movie, as it were. So, but yes, apart from the finale, which is a bit up and down anyway, I have no other high points. So Andy, have you got any others?
I just love the whole kind of set again of the Acme warehouse, like where the Iron Battle takes place. It's not particularly great, but like even just like the simple thing of the floor is absolutely covered in this stuff, and then like Roger now like, how do we get down? And then suddenly he just sprays it all, and like literally they just spray it all, and you can see all the kind of green going down the drains and all that. It's just the little details in this thing. Like they've got this like story down.
I like the thing that Judge Doom was on.
Yeah.
Where he was just like the lift, but it's just like a thing that you hang on to.
He's like just standing on this thing waiting for people like, okay, now I've got people, I'll just slowly.
Yeah. Very ominous. Chris?
He himself is a kind of high point, Judge Doom. Like him getting flattened at the end, that gave me fucking nightmares as a kid.
I remember being scared of Christopher Lloyd for that, yeah.
Oh yeah. Like,
and just his high pitched voice, and it's just like, what the fuck? And then the kind of twist, it's not a twist, but he's a Toon. It's just like, what evil Toon is this person? It's like all cartoons are meant to be funny, and
I think it works as a twist. I had suspicions because of what I'd seen it with the film.
Yeah.
But during the film, they don't give away that he is a Toon. Like, I think it's very easy to think he's just a human baddie.
Yeah.
So,
and I kind of love the whole like this whole premise of it's like we've got to build this big freeway thing, and like
it's fun.
Retrospect now, it's just like this is genius. Like obviously. It was that's like obviously they filmed it in like 1989, but for the story content, like brilliant.
1947, because Bob goes, "What the hell's a freeway?" And
exactly,
it's a road. How do you not know that? And I was like, okay, it's 1947.
I liked that like you talk about the spray who eliminates the cartoon. The fact that it just keeps on going back towards Roger and Jessica, and it does something, and it goes away again, and then Bob Hoskins is fighting people, and all of a sudden the spray is getting back towards it again, and they're like, and he does something to change it again. I kept laughing every time the spray was getting close. Well, that's it for high points from me. Any others?
Don't think so.
We'll move on to point 3 then. The low points. What was the worst bits and things?
I do have like a super ultimate low point, and it could be the lowest of low points in any film we've ever done. So I don't know if you want me to start or leave.
You go with that. Yeah, lead off. Yeah.
Right. This bit always annoys me in this. Because, like I said, I don't have many low points, but this one is the lowest of low, and I don't think I can pick a film that's got a low point in this.
I might have it as well, but carry on.
Bob Hoskins doing his little musical number.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what the whole thing was like cringe incarnate. Like, I'm loving Bob Hoskins in this film all the way through. It's like he's brilliant, he's acting great, and then it's just like, what are you doing? Like this little like sing along, then he's not actually rhyming, they're helping him, and it's so cringy, and he's like in a big place, and the whole thing just annoyed me.
Really? Okay.
Yep. I don't know why.
Yeah. It didn't offend me. I thought it made sense. I wasn't like, oh my god, I love the show so much. Or like that.
He's bringing out the clown in himself. For me, it was just cringe incarnate. Like I
quite like the rude puns always get me, where you've rhymed the line on luck and you don't know where you're going to go next, or you've rhymed the line with the balls bit as well, where he kicks the guy and the balls fires them off into the goop.
I don't know. Yeah. He looks awkward doing it as well.
He's not singing there. He's just saying words. He's not singing.
Yeah.
That kind of plays into his character. I think that he hates. He's anti-Toon. So, but
it's annoying me.
I'm not going to fight to the death about it. It wasn't a high point or a low point for me. Now, what I thought you were going to say, my lowest point in the whole film, which I thought was where you were going with this, was Judge Doom with the squeaky chalk on the chalkboard. And that was absolutely unnecessary. It's like, oh god, headphones on. I know. It's like it's evil to everybody in the scene, but don't make it that bad in like real life for us to hear as well. So that was my low point. My first low point I've got is the first scene where we find out that Acme has been killed, despite what our man said earlier. Acme's had the safe dropped on his head, which is a hilarious sight with the drawing the white line as the safe in the ground. Immediately, exactly. I guess he had no head left, so they just take the rest away. Immediately, I'm like, well, Judge Doom did it. Like it's straight away. For me, this is a private eye kind of who done it. Who framed Roger Rabbit? The whole film seems to be trying to work out who framed Roger Rabbit. And as soon as we get to the crime scene, I know the person who did it immediately. There's no disguising. I guess it's like it's not even it doesn't feel like a children's movie, does it? It really, it's a bit more like it would be a 12 at best, I think, nowadays, this film. But yeah, immediately I'm straight away, well, like Judge Doom's, he's not a red herring. He is the one that did it. So how is this story going to go? And it's the next hour and a half is weaving through, it could be them, it could be them, it could be them. The whole time I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure it's still just going to be Christopher Lloyd in the end.
He's weird.
So that was a big low point.
A Toon-hating Toon. Which doesn't make any sense.
I guess so, yeah. But then that's how evil he is. He hates everybody.
I also don't understand bits of the story where it's like, right, Jessica decide, or I've got to do it because I'll like Roger's career will be over. It's like, don't do that. Like that never ends well. That's probably like one of them things that need to die later on part. But like that, and then it's just like, oh yeah, it's definitely him. It's like they don't make anybody have a proper motivation in this film. And like you said, when he comes in, it's just like, oh yeah, he's the bad guy. He's in black. He looks evil.
If you look at Jessica Rabbit's actions under a microscope, which I don't have, I don't think her like retrospectively what she does doesn't hold up very well. I don't think. If you look back through, it's like, well, why did she do this? And why was she there? And why did she do this? And why was she there? Hitting him with a frying pan just to protect him, sleeping with a guy to protect him. It's just like, oh, she's actually the bad guy. Yeah, in some ways, yeah. It's like she's like, oh, I did it all for Roger. I wasn't the one that killed him. I did this and did that. It's like, but you were always there, just getting in the way and doing things that are a bit shady. And it's like if you'd stayed out the way, it might have been fine.
Like Roger's her husband, I was going to smash in the face with a frying pan, saying, stay here. I don't want you to get hurt.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not me. I'm not the one that did it. I'm here because the two of them, they are apart for the whole film, and it's not like it's not like she's being captured or anything like that. And it's not like they're at the beginning. I always thought they were like estranged, and the whole film is him trying to get her back. But it's not that. The whole film happens in what, like a day, maybe 2 days, and the two of them never share a scene together till the very end. It's really weird how she's not kidnapped, and it's really bizarre. So I've got 2 more low points for me. One is all the way throughout the film, and one is one section of the film. So the one section of the film, not the start, Eddie in Toon Town hasn't aged very well. I will talk very highly of Roger Rabbit and Jessica and all the others in the real world, but when Bob Hoskins goes to Toon Town, it looks very nailed on. I meant to see your background is what Andy meant. But
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
There you go.
He looks very...
Looks like
he looks very green screened against. It looks like a point that when he gets out of his car in the street, it looks like a point and click kind of adventure thing. Like the one character that can, like, it looks different if you can interact with it, and it's like, oh, he can move, and then that thing over there, so he's clearly going to walk down that street and go that way because it's the only thing he can actually interact with. All the rest looks fake, and that's not aged very well. That section of the film. That's why the best bit was the only bit which was falling out the window for me. Any other low points? I'll keep my all through it one till the last.
Mine's was just is that the start after that opening scene with the fridge getting dropped in the head, and they're getting really annoyed because you can't make stars, and they've dropped this fridge 23 times. Just go with the second thing that's dropped. If it's a fucking, I don't know, an anvil that's going around, use that instead of dropping a fridge 23 times.
Poor Roger, his health.
And then, I've got like, okay. I was going to say, baby Sherman or Herman, I can't remember what it's called, Herman. He's going like that and mouthing something, but he's not saying anything. I don't know why. It's because I was liking baby Herman. I was just watching him. He's moving and doing stuff, just not saying anything. It just annoyed me.
Fair enough. What about you, Andy?
I've got one last one. Bob Hoskins' hairy back.
Oh yeah, okay, that was unnecessary as well. That might be was the chalk. Yeah,
like it wasn't like that entire scene wasn't even really needed. It just he was just there just for the pants drop gag at the end. It's just like,
it's the drop caught you with your pants down gag. It's the whole reason. Yeah, exactly.
It's quite funny though.
Yeah. Okay, my final one. It's not a be all end all. Rate the film a 1, but it was early on in my low points. Roger is quite annoying. And then ... In fact, he's a complete pain in the arse. That is Roger. The more Roger there is, the more annoying he is. The more he can't function as a normal being and has to just be an idiot the entire time. He just really got to me, and it's just more and more. I feel like his voice is kind of annoying as well, and it's quite telling that we don't have a million Roger Rabbit things like now in 2023, because I think people don't like Jessica Rabbit is quite popular to a certain extent. There's not millions of toys and all that, but I feel like she
all over her.
Yeah, I guess so. But she is a bit of a cultural, I don't know, not icon, but a cultural thing as Jessica Rabbit. Whereas Roger, he's a bit annoying, a bit naff, not that memorable, not that funny, not the main character in his own film. He's just a bit, I don't know, a bit shit.
He's like Woody Woodpecker. Nobody really remembers him either.
I mean, I've probably got fonder memories of Woody Woodpecker as I do Roger Rabbit, but yeah, he's a bit naff, and he's meant to be the main tune. You're supposed to have sympathy for him. He just does my nutting. So, not as bad as some. He's not my like, not ruined the film for me. Any other low points, or is that us?
Nope.
On to point 4, the stats. No shits, no F-bombs, no swearing whatsoever. Well, I say not so well. There was some swearing, but none of the major ones that we count. I thought I got a shit, but it was bullshtick. It was a joke, a pun on the word bull shit. So it didn't actually swear. Explosions, none. There was not one cartoon or real life explosion. Some things kind of exploded to a certain extent, but there was no explosions as we would normally count them. Deaths, 9 deaths. Mr. Acme, obviously, he's the one who gets murdered at the beginning. That shoe. That's how I first knew I knew that Christopher Lloyd was definitely the bad guy. He just flat out murdered a shoe for nothing.
Yes, he did.
So that died. Mr. Maroon, he gets shot by Doom from the window. All 5 of the weasels, I counted them as they went, they all die laughing. And then Doom at the end gets obliterated in various
that shoe
ways.
now, that's got me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shoey.
Quotas, cows, 8. They were all waiting at the cattle call at the studios at the beginning. I didn't see any cows at the end, but in the crowd scene of animated characters, there might have been some more, but I'm not sure. None of the major. In fact, there was one. I remember one character being a cow, so 9 at least, being there. Goats, though, I couldn't see any, and I can't think of any major cartoon goats that would be there. So I think we're none with goats. No popular cartoon like 70s. Pardon? Yeah, but that's like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
I don't think if Disney had made a big film about it, maybe, but I don't think they did. But yeah, no goats. And the dead animals, well, all the weasels died, so they're all dead. Pedophiles, I think we're safe on this one, I think. I mean, it's hard with toons. Jessica Rabbit, don't know how old she is.
I was thinking, how old was Roger and Jessica?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. He does seem like he's about half our age, in fairness.
Big time.
Tom Cruise, Tackleberry trifecta. I don't think there was a motorcycle ridden. There was motorcycles chasing the cartoon car, but none of our main characters rode any.
Yeah, actually looks like Tackleberry in the police.
Yeah, right, they did, yeah. And I did say the thing. Who framed Roger Rabbit?
No.
No, they didn't say it. It's a good title for the film. That's what it's about, but no one actually said it. Chris, any stats from you?
One nut shot. One of the weasels got kicked in the
in the balls.
What they said. Something to rhyme with it, but they didn't say it.
Yeah.
But I carried Acme products because there was quite a lot.
Ah, good shout.
So they were going in order, but then they started coming all over the place. So extra hot chili sauce, toaster, a suckle axe, portable holes, glue, dynamite, ball and chain, singing sword, a curved ball, shoes, the dip machine, the super magnets, and a disappearing reappearing ink. There's probably more.
No, I mean, that sounds fair to me. But yeah, I guess a lot of things in the background would be. The holes were quite funny. I like them. They were good. Andy, do you have a fun fact about Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
So all the sets of this thing were literally built like 5 foot higher. So when you think they're actually in a room, they're actually 5 foot high, so the animation team could be underneath. So when Bob Hoskins was walking around, they could move things and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
okay.
So when it actually looks like they're in a normal room, which normally a film would be filmed in a room, they had to build a room on a platform so that everybody else can walk underneath and move shit and do things and pull things. They're pretty much every scene that they're in is he's raised on the floor.
Cool. I did not notice, and that is interesting. So that was a fun fact. Thank you very much. Point 5 on the podcast is a 10-point podcast quiz. Let's see if it's forwards or backwards this week. Andy, over to you.
So this is a simple quiz called Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Judge Doom. Yes, I win.
It's basically what I'm going to do is a little bit explain. I'm going to give you 3 clues to which tune in basically Frame Roger Rabbit, but it's just basically name the tune by 3 clues. Now, the clues get more and more specific as the thing, so it could be vague to start off with. So if you call in, you've got to get it right. And if you don't, the other person could listen the rest of the clues. Okay? Cool. So it's just shout in when you know. Well, just shout in and I'll go to that person. Just buzz or whatever.
So we're naming the tune that you are describing.
You're naming the tune that I'm describing.
It's characters, not the show, if you know what I'm saying.
It's characters. It is very homed into the character. Right. So remember, there's 3 in each. I think there's 3 clues for each person. So you can wait or you can jump in trying to get the point.
Gamble. Right.
Question 1. From the town of Bedrock.
Fred Flintstone.
What did you say, Chris?
Fred Flintstone.
It's not Fred Flintstone, so Bruce can hear the other. He went for it and he gambled. So, has a daughter called Pebbles. You can wait, Bruce. You can wait.
I'm waiting. I can't remember which way the family's going. That's okay.
Has orange hair.
Right. Well, that'll be Wilma Flintstone.
It is Wilma. Yes. There you go. So there you go. That's the format. Chris jumped too early.
I was never jumping with the first one, Chris. I was never going.
Take a shot.
Yeah, it's worth a gamble, I guess.
Right. Question 2. Lives very close to his enemy. Short in stature. Brown fur. That's your clues up.
Yogi Bear?
Not Yogi Bear.
Cat dog?
Nope, it was Jerry from Tom and Jerry.
Ah, right. Yes, he does.
Right.
It's a dogs or enemies.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
you were close. It was Tom and Jerry. You're very close. Right, question 3. Has blue hair.
Marge Simpson.
Oh, he went. You're wrong. Chris can do the rest of the. Lives in Springfield.
Oh.
Millhouse.
It's Millhouse. The last one was wears glasses. Chris gets it in 2.
Oh,
So
if Chris had been wrong there, was that back in, by the way?
no. But he would have lost if he got it wrong. So he,
Right,
he,
okay.
he even
I couldn't remember what his dad was called, so I was going for him.
he was so cocky. He went on number 2. He could have just waited for all 3 clues, but he didn't.
I don't know what his dad's called.
Right. Question 5.
I still got 1 point.
No,
or was it
4.
2?
It's
No,
one.
you still got 1 point.
1. Okay.
Question 4. A little bit of a trickster. First seen in Porky's Hare Hunt.
What?
Usually seen eating a carrot.
Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny.
It's Bugs Bunny. Chris got it.
Oh.
Chris is so confused.
Oh.
I get
It's annoying because I said it before Chris did. The delay got me there. Ugh.
For once, it worked in my favour.
I heard Chris
Yeah.
go for it. Question 5. Has a southern accent. Lives on Old MacDonald's farm.
Foghorn Leghorn.
Oh, that was like the same time.
If it's the same time, we can leave it.
It was the
I'm
same
happy.
time, but for the tiebreaker, can you name his rival in that?
I don't think I can.
Which the dog? I don't know.
How would you spell dog, Chris?
DAWG.
I'll give him it. It's George the dog.
Ah!
He said
Okay.
he said dog and spelled it right, so he gets the tiebreaker.
Yeah, but
No,
like
he gets the
obviously,
tiebreaker.
it's like how would you spell cat? Well, if you've asked me, it's not going to be with a C, is
I
it?
spelled it like that because he asked how you spell it. I was like, well,
Exactly,
fuck
yeah.
you.
Doesn't matter.
Goodness sake.
We're moving on. Right. Enemy to Porky Pig is black and white in color. Has a lisp.
The best of the cat.
No. Chris, can you get it?
Oh. No.
Mentioned him already in the podcast.
Oh, right. So, oh, God, I suppose he is black and white, isn't he?
What?
I think
That
I'm passing it.
Daffy Duck.
It's Daffy Duck, yeah. But
That's
like-
the
Where did
rules.
you see? What's the
Ah.
first question?
Enemy of Porky Pig.
Is he?
Aye.
seemingly. I think they're all enemies, aren't they? Those
They are.
Looney Tunes, basically.
Right. Another one.
To me, Daffy Duck is orange because of his bill.
Right.
That's what I'd argue there.
Next one. Child of Charlotte Pickles.
Tommy Pickles.
Not Tommy Pickles. Blonde hair.
Oh, damn it.
Enemy of Tommy, Chucky,
Angelica
Phil,
Pickles.
Angelica Pickles. Yes, it
Angelica
is.
I couldn't think of what our parents were called.
What's the score? Do we...
Stu. Chris is 3 in front of me at the moment. So
All
if
right.
we're on the
Well, we
last
may as
one.
well finish the last one off. See if you can get some bonus sympathy points. Trained in the ninjutsu and an expert swordsman. He's the leader.
Leonardo.
It's Leonardo, yes.
Hey.
The last one was going to be, where's a blue bandana? So,
I missed the start of the first one, so I had no idea what was happening.
Trained in the ninjutsu.
All I heard was
Swordsman.
ninjutsu, and I was like, oh, that was Power Rangers in my head.
so Chris dominates. He knows.
Chris wins the
he knows
cartoon
tunes.
quiz. He did know the tunes.
Like, look.
I thought at one point
Oh.
Andy would do the obvious one. I didn't think he was always going to do the non-obvious one, so that's why I was
Yeah, as
jumping
soon
early.
as I said the first one, I knew it wasn't.
Point 6, movies and movies. Chris and I have both looked at the 10-point podcast universe, and let's see if we can piece together who we've done before, Chris.
I generally think you've gone into more detail than I have.
Maybe.
Frank Welker, who was Dumbo in this and did a few additional voices, he has been in Mortal Kombat as Shao Kahn and Reptile.
Oh,
Tank
Awesome.
Girl as special vocal effects. Suburban Commando as Alien General Suitor.
I didn't have that.
Okay. And Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. He did a voice in that.
The animals, the wasps and the ants and all that sort of
I
stuff.
assumed that's what it was. Have I missed something else with him?
Is that you finished with him?
Yes.
Gremlins.
I loved it. I seen Gremlins too, but I didn't see Gremlins.
Gremlins was there, and then DuckTales as well.
Hey, DuckTales.
Frank
Oh,
Welker.
do you know what? Funny, yeah, he's coming up later on DuckTales, actually.
It is. Frank Welker, yeah, famously like an animal voice person. To me, he's most famous for being Nibbler in Futurama. Because they got him intentionally to be Nibbler. I don't know if it's him when Nibbler actually speaks when he's like, "I am Nibbler, come to me to the Nibble Land," whatever it is he says, but I don't know. But I think Frank Welker we need to keep in mind for the Hall of Fame this year, because that's a lot of films he's been in. And he does play, like, he does voices for Mogwai, and they're kind of the main character of Gremlins. So I need to remember. Oh, Tremors. Did you see Tremors?
I did.
I've got Tremors as well. So
as soon as I see Gremlins 2, I looked for Gremlins and I couldn't see it. So
I didn't even see Gremlins 2, but I saw Gremlins 1. The one where it's like the box with the eyes peeking out is Gremlins. I remember seeing that poster. So either way, I think he was in it. We've definitely done him before.
Okay. So James O'Connell, who was a conductor, I don't know whether that was a bus conductor or
the tram conductor that wouldn't let him on, so he had to sit on the back. Yeah.
Okay. He was in The Cable Guy as a bathroom attendant.
Which I'm assuming is when they have the fight with Owen Wilson in the bathroom and that, I think.
I'm going to butcher this name, by the way. Richard Le Parmentier, who was Lieutenant Santino. He was in Star Wars: A New Hope as General Motti.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's someone from the Empire, I would say.
Alan Tilvern, who was Arcade Maroon, was in Little Shop of Horrors as Downtown Bum 2.
I missed him completely. I did not get him at all.
This is the last
He's so proud of himself.
I am. I get what he's not got. So Christopher Lloyd was Judge Doom. He was in Suburban Commando as Charlie, and DuckTales Treasure of the Lost Lamp as Mel.
If I remember, you forgot him when we did him in Suburban Commando that we did DuckTales. You missed Joel Alaskey. He's the guy who does Yosemite Sam and Foghorn Leghorn. I say, boy. He was in Forest. He was in this probably because he has like one line with each character, so maybe uncredited. He was in Forrest Gump.
That's why I did him.
Right. Forrest Gump for Foghorn Leghorn. He voiced President Nixon in Forrest Gump, probably when he meets Forrest on the old screen. And he also played Stinky the Ghost in Casper as well.
I recognize his fucking voice.
Did you say Fred Newman at any point?
No.
He played Stupid, which I'm assuming is one of the weasels. He did voices in Gremlins as well. He was also in Gremlins. June Foray, she played Wheezy, another weasel. She played Mrs. Featherby, the housekeeper in DuckTales. And Russie Taylor, who did Birds, whatever that means, and Minnie Mouse in this. She is Huey, Louie, Dewey, and Webby in DuckTales as well. And then what I've got next to it, I've got Mel Blanc, question mark. He voices Bugs Bunny and other big kind of characters. I was positive we'd done Mel Blanc before, but I can't find anything he'd been in. So he is the voice of Bugs Bunny. But I thought, I looked at him as well. I could not find a film we've done, but I felt like we'd mentioned it before. Chris, that's it though. Have you recast us into roles in the film?
I did. I put myself as Marvin Acme. You know, he's a bit of a lovable goof. I did have Andy as Baby Herman because I think he would absolutely love to be then. But I mentioned him before. I think he's more like that gorilla, just angry. That's just some guys like, well, you look at that chump, and it just throws people out. Bruce, I put you as Eddie Valiant.
Right. Okay.
What else to put you as?
Well, see, I've gone for Andy as Valiant and you as Roger, Chris. I feel like that's the film I would want to see, is you two. So then I made myself Mr. Acme. I don't know why. I just thought I felt like.
Is that so you all get to sleep with Jessica Rabbit?
Pat a cake with Jessica Rabbit, I think. That's what Mr. Acme did. But yeah, either way, it's quite a difficult one. But I thought Andy being Bob Hoskins kind of spoke to me. I thought I'd go with that.
I can't hear you back.
Questions. I've added a new question, which we'll get to in a second. But could this film have come out in 1995? Most definitely, this film could have come out in 1995. I don't know how much better it would have been.
Brendan Fraser did it, didn't he?
When did Space Jam come out?
That would be right then.
Yeah, I know. That's a cartoon.
Exactly, Space Jam, perfect example. So yeah, it definitely could, and it's basically the same characters essentially. So that's definitely could come out. But the new question I've asked: does this film reference The Wizard of Oz? Is my new question I've asked off the back of last week, and yes, it does, because George Doom, when he dies, is melting just like the Wicked Witch of the West. So
I noticed that.
Add that.
I was like, what are the chances?
I literally just turned to Chantel and went, That's two villains been defeated by water again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think that establishes that every film ever is going to make reference to the Wizard of Oz. So I'm going to put that in as a weekly thing now. Dead Man Walking. As soon as the boss weasel said to another, "One of these days you're gonna die laughing," I was like, "You are a goner, mate." Like, and then turned out all of them died that way. But yeah, that was as clear a signposting ever that they were gonna die laughing. And who's in the wrong movie? Jessica Rabbit? Maybe.
Does seem to be, yeah. She's at least 20 of them. She's in the wrong world.
Yeah, kind of like she should be a human, really.
Yeah.
And she's kind of in the background, is kind of in the film, but is always like you're supposed to think she's involved in every bit, but she's not really involved in every single bit.
That'd make the relationship funny though, between Roger Rabbit and Jessica Rabbit, if she was an actual human.
Yeah. Did you know it was Kathleen Turner that was the voice? I did not know that she was uncredited. I could recognize it, but I couldn't quite place it. But yeah, Kathleen Turner. But yeah, if it just been her rather than a cartoon, it might have been better. Any other suggestions for who's in the wrong movie? I can't really think of any. Everybody else kind of fits.
Nah.
You kind of need the villain. You kind of need Bob Hoskins. I guess Dolores. Like, what's the point in that part? Really, I don't really know why she's there. And movie tropes. I don't have a trope, but Andy mentioned something earlier, and I want to go with it. What was the trope?
Definitely.
Oh, it was
banging for you to save your other half or whatever.
Yeah, I did it to save your career. Well,
Yeah.
you told him that you did it to save his career.
Yeah, just say, "Oh, I've got to go and bang Mr. Acme because your career's going to be down the shitter. Go play patty cake with him."
Go play patty cake with him. Yeah. Chris, do you have a trope?
Yeah, somebody else mentioned it before as well. Chalk squeaking down a chalkboard. I have never heard that in real life. I've only ever heard it in films.
I'm kind of aware of it, but it's never as bad as what they did in this. That was the worst example ever.
I've heard it loads of times in chalkboards. I've never heard of it.
So it happens with like a really, I don't know, really old board. I think is probably how
we used to have old boards back in our day. We're old school.
Yeah, they don't even have blackboards or whiteboards now, aren't they? Point 7 on the podcast. That one thing. What is the one thing this film has? Obviously, this podcast. This film has. What is the one thing? I think probably we're all going to say the same thing, but Andy's
Jessica Rabbit.
All right, fair enough. Chris, what have you got?
Well, I'll put Baby Herman.
Oh.
It's Mrs. Mine. He was going to say animation or something like
that. Cartoons in the real world. I thought this is the first film and best example of it. I guess it's the first example. Space Jam in some ways is better, but it's kind of 50-50, that film. It's not.
No, I would like, if you say Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I would probably then say Jessica Rabbit. That's how I do this.
Right. Fair enough. 3 different ones after we think it's all going to be the same. Let's see if nominations are the different ones or the same ones. Right, Chris, you've got plenty of time this week, so you lead off, and me and Andy are definitely going to argue with you by the sounds of things.
All right, so best actor, Bob Hoskins.
Yes.
Man's acting to nothing.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, for most of the film.
What about best villain, Judge Doom?
Nah.
I think so. Was that a no?
Nah.
Who
that woman, the fake Jessica Rabbit woman, she was evil.
Oh,
you know how you know?
Is
she an actual real cartoon, or she made
I
it?
think it's a gag. For this, I think a gag for this. Nah, I thought she was lovely. She just wanted a man. That was all. Was it? Judge Doom.
What do you call him? The lift guy. I forgot his name. The little dog.
Droopy.
He was a bit of a bellend in that, wasn't he?
Nah, that's Droopy. I love Droopy.
This film got incepted in me because of the Always Sunny podcast, because one of the episodes was doing impressions of Droopy going, "Your floor, sir."
Okay, you have Dr. Doom as I'm calling.
I think it's Dr. Doom. Yeah.
Best death, Judge Doom.
I went Mr. Acme with the. We never see him die, but the safe with the
safe
white
like
chalk.
No blood, yeah.
The chalk outline.
Chalk line, no
I like
blood,
that.
head gone.
But I don't know. If you wanted to go Doom, I wouldn't argue. Like it is.
Well, we had the witch last week.
Oh, good point.
It's the exact same thing.
It's the same, yeah.
So we'll go in.
Acme. All right, I'll go ahead.
Go Acme. I'll go the same one. That's gonna be a tiebreaker on the point, isn't
it? Best animate object. I put Valiant's little booze holster. His little thing. He's got like a wee holster which puts his booze out inside.
I knew there'd be an animate object. I've left it blank, but I've highlighted it, so I'm happy to go with it. I just wanted to make sure we got one. But we'll go with that if you like.
I was thinking about the lady's cartoon legs. You see her in real life.
That's pretty good. That's quite good. Yeah. I was going to nominate the sword, but then I realised it's actually animate.
That's the problem. Even the bullets. I like the bullets.
I was going to nominate a cartoon, but it's an animate cartoon. Yeah. So
literally animated.
Best weapon. I put the old guy's gun.
So not the sword then.
No, I prefer like the gun.
So mine's with
useless.
bullets. The bullet gun.
Okay,
bullet.
we'll go.
Yeah.
Right, fair enough.
Best twist is Judge Doom as a toon.
I think so.
That blew my mind when I was a kid.
Yeah, Andy was downplaying it, but I think it's a good twist that he is. Like, him being the baddie is a good twist, but him also being a toon is a good twist. Like, I think.
I would like to have seen him actually as a toon, though, not just
I want to know what tuna
eyes.
was.
Yeah, what did it look like under there? Yeah.
Where are we? Best jump scare, Dumbo. It gets me every time.
For the window.
When he just appears at the window, makes a really loud noise.
All right.
Gets me every time.
Fucking hell.
The best special effects is the tunes interacting with everything.
I've just got the word
Human
yes.
Yeah.
I've got yes written next to special effects. Yeah.
Best set, I put the bar as the best set.
I like
the factory.
The kitchen, like
I like the kitchen as well because he was literally in that scene by himself and everything was moving around him.
No, I mean like the real life version of the cartoon kitchen from the beginning. I mean when the animated when they pan out and it's a real kitchen there. But I don't know.
It's a 3-way tie now.
We'll go with his house, or what you want to call it then.
I like the house.
Now that we know that it was raised up
and
there was people moving the house, the chairs and all that. We'll go with that then.
Okay. I've left best cameo blank because there's so many.
I've gone for Daffy and Donald Duck as my best cameo.
I would say I kind of agree with Bruce because they're the first big ones. Like fucking hell, they're like, proper like Dumbo and all that, but they two and they're actually like talking and singing and stuff like that.
Because the way he mentions Dumbo is he's on loan from Disney.
Yeah,
from
Disney.
That's a good gag. That's a good gag because this is made by Disney. And then like say that scene happens, it's not only a Disney character, it's a Warner Brothers character as well. So I think that's the best cameo. And then it's funny. Like I feel like Bugs and Mickey, it's a good bit, but for such superstars as they are, they're not really. It's not hilarious. It's not very long. They thought they might have had more significant part to play.
And
but
also,
I
why
feel
the
like
skydiving?
Yeah, exactly. Next to a building.
That's what cartoons do. It just happens.
I suppose. But I think Daffy Donald's a good cameo.
Daddy John Jules explaining how no, that's wrong. I'm not wrong. Bet motherfucker talk about Michael Pena. Explaining how his brother died.
Okay, yeah.
So it's short and sweet. Yeah. A tune dropped the ambulance.
Just that, right? Okay, I can't remember he gets into it. Okay, yeah, we'll go with that then. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, doesn't work as best.
Actually, no, he does do a good one.
Because they're on the end.
And the cinema, he explains it better. Yeah, that's
we'll go for that then.
Best accent is Bob Hoskins because he's got a proper Cockney accent.
I hadn't even thought of that. You're right. Yeah.
Mario's Brooklyn accent.
But he's playing proper. See, I'm going to solve this crime. You see, like not quite that bad, but he's a bit like that.
Worst hair is Doom's little tuft.
Okay, yeah.
Best product placement, Disney.
I put Disney too. Andy, have you got a better one? Aku, I did wonder about Aku. Is Aku real or is like?
No, I googled that to see if it was real. It's
it's still totally fake and made up.
Yes,
it's a fake acronym for something. I can't remember what it is now. It's a company makes everything, or a something company makes everything.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You're right. Is that you, Chris?
Yeah, that's me. Fill in the blanks.
Best car chase, the kind of taxi one at the beginning, or the first taxi scene.
I keep forgetting there's a car chase one.
Best character name, Roger Rabbit is pretty good. I feel like it's kind of the name, the character not so much, but the name is synonymous with rabbits
and
now.
He's Roger and his wife as well. So
he also she's not a rabbit, yeah. Best cop, Eddie, is he the best cop? Like I think he was a detective, and he's kind of a
definitely was a detective,
and he solves the thing, so I think it's him. Best entrance, Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
I think that kind of works.
Best exits, Roger's imprint just coming to the window.
It is. You're right. I don't have one for that. Yeah, him leaving through the blind through the window.
Glass perfectly.
Leave that. Done that one. Best twist. Best villain. Best voice work. I don't know. I don't want to nominate Roger.
No.
So Kathleen Turner, maybe.
I've got worst physics. Jessica Rabbit's boobs. They do the opposite of what real life boobs do. So when in real life, when they go up, hers went down. So that's why they bounce.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Make a note of that.
I kept going
physics.
Biggest bell end, Roger is the biggest bell end.
Yeah, definitely.
He is an absolute bell end. Like just Sometimes you just stay quiet, just don't do
Yep.
anything. Why didn't you tell me you could uncuff lots of stuff? Most pornographic, Jessica Rabbit.
Yep.
Unnecessarily pornographic. Most underused, I think, the other famous cartoons in the film. Like, there is more to be done with
Yeah.
Bugs and Mickey. Like, they could have teamed up to save the day at the end rather than just coming out to be like, is it safe? But then I would say that takes away from Roger, but we've already established Roger was pretty terrible in this film and afterwards. Stupidest character, definitely Roger. Worst plan. I'm going to kill Valiant with a steamroller. Like, he basically has him dead to rights down on the ground, and then Valiant kind of does something, and all of a sudden he's turning around a corner, driving a steamroller towards him. It's like, why? Why didn't you just do a normal death on him? Why'd you have to run him over?
He got kicked off as well and started turning itself.
Yeah,
and that's how he got killed.
Terrible. His Doom's plan is pretty good and quite for a children's film as this. It could be him buying up companies and doing this and doing that, and it's like it's quite a thick plot to try and get through. And the worst twist for me is Judge Doom being the one who framed Roger was a bad twist because immediately I called it upon seeing him. Any others, Andy? We've done product placement.
No, I don't think so. I've covered all.
Covered most of it. Point 9 on the podcast, the moral of the story. What do we think the lesson we're supposed to learn by this film is? Chris is smiling, so I'm going to go to him first.
It's not, but it's just a shave and a haircut, 2 bits. I never asked what that was.
Yeah, that's actually, that might stay with me. That's quite good because my moral story is something about building freeways. It's my moral story. Like, freeways are bad, or I don't know, are they? It seems it makes a good point about all the fast food restaurants and motels that are adequately priced and all that. This sounds quite good. Andy, what's your moral story?
Never work with animals.
It's very good. Point 10 is the 10-point rating. We'll rate the film out of 10 points. Andy, you picked it. You get to go first. I'm going to go last, Chris.
I remember watching this film as a kid, and I absolutely hate this film. It's awful. Like, I just like the story, and I don't get it. It's not a kids' film. Watching this later on, it massively changes because it's very well done. It's very well written. It's amazing. Even thinking back now, what it looks like. So yeah, if you'd asked me to rate this as a kid, I'd be like, I'm never watching that shit again.
Yeah, it's got to be 5 minutes that are good.
Yeah,
watching
this as an adult, I could happily put this on. Like it's one of these background ones I can look up every now and then. I roughly know what's happening. Oh, that's the funny bit. It's not perfect, but it's mind blowing how they've done everything. So it's strong, and I guess a 7.
7, second week in a row we've had mind blowing stuff. Chris, what's your score?
Same as Andy, 7. This
7?
blew my mind as a kid, and it still blows my mind. Like, so good. Like when was this made? 94? 88. 88, something like that. Like I said, it's better than some films that are coming out now with the integration of cartoon and real life.
The Brendan Fraser one looks shit compared to this, and that came out in the 2000s.
That's the Looney Tunes one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So back in action.
The story's not. It's got holes and shit, but Roger doesn't bother me as much as it bothers you. I could watch this again. I love this film.
I think a lot of what I don't like about it is Roger, I think. But that's just but the story is actually quite a strong bit for me. That it actually holds up as a kind of a noir detective story.
And that's why it turns on me.
Now that I'm older. Like, a lot of shit went over my head as a kid.
And stuff now. The innuendos and stuff are are there that you might not have spotted when younger as well. I'm giving it a 6, so I'm a bit below you two guys, but I agree with most of what you said, to be honest. I probably didn't enjoy it that much, but I appreciate how good it is, if you know what I'm saying. It's hard to fault. Like, the little bits, Roger being a pain in the arse is mainly the big one, and other bits that kind of annoyed
4
me.
points because Roger's a dick.
I feel like it's not excellent, so I can't really go above a 6. Like, it's not that enjoyable, but technologically it's fine and all that. But yeah, a 7 and a 7 and a 6 means it's still a 7 overall officially from us anyway. So a 7 out of 10 for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, fitting into Andy's theme of stars that we haven't featured before, which may now be the star we haven't featured anymore. It was this in Bad Boys, wasn't it? That's what we did for Will Smith.
Yeah.
Right,
and Martin Lawrence got a 2 for that.
Yeah, that's Martin Lawrence as well, I suppose, because we did work out he was the star of the film. Next time, though, it is our new Pick of Destiny pick that is not the film Pick of Destiny. It is going to be called the Pick of Destiny. Andy forgot, and me and Chris both came with the same suggestion for next week. And let me get the information on it. We're going to go a bit further forward now. So we've done 2 old films that were technologically special and all that. We're going to go to 2004 it might unofficially kick off our spooky season of horror films for October. It's going to be September that it comes out. But 2004's horror mystery thriller, I won't go through the stars because the stars aren't really what it's about. It is the film Saw, the first in the.
Oh, should I play this sound? It didn't work.
Yes, let's play a game. The 10th Saw. Is it the 10th Saw film, or are some counted and some not? I'm not even
No,
sure.
they're all. I'm pretty sure.
Including Spiral, is this number 10, the new one that's coming out?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah,
Right.
I don't think it was Saw 9. I'm pretty sure it up to 8, and then Spiral, and this is 10.
No, because it was Jigsaw was unnumbered, wasn't it? It was like 7 Jigsaw.
Oh
Spiral,
yeah, like Saw.
and
Saw 3D was weird as well. That wasn't.
I think it was it 6 and also 3D? I think it had 2
Yeah,
titles,
it was,
depending on whether you saw it, and then there might have been a 7th one. Anyway, it's Saw, the original from 2004. We all know what happens. It's going to take a big chunk away from what's good about the film because we all know what happens. But I am very much going to enjoy watching it again. So you'll have 7 days. We'll not discuss when we're doing the next episode. I think it's 7 days to watch Saw, and we'll see you next time on the 10 Point Podcast.